Hello everyone, it's Dio from Firmbutfair Gaming, bringing you another World of Warcraft video. Today we are continuing our M0 guides with the dungeon Sanguine Depths. This is located in Revendreth and is one of the dungeons that you get to benefit from if you're Venthyr and can do a couple cool things. And so let's get started. So this instance has 4 bosses. Each one has a couple cool mechanics. The trash can be a little bit challenging at times. On the very first pull here, what you're going to do is on the left behind this trash here, there was a canister. So you should be able to drag the trash close to the canister, and as it dies it will fill it up, and then your party member, if they're Venthyr, will be able to use that canister, draw its power from it. So here we're going to pull the trash back to it, and as it dies on top of this, like I said, if you have a Venthyr party member, they'll be able to click on it and get a buff from it. The trash is pretty much straightforward. There are some casters in it. You just gotta kick some spells just to help alleviate healing. They do put pools on the ground. Don't stand in the pools. There is a little bit of damage that comes out when you do get to gargoyles that we'll see in a little bit. They do also create I'm going to call them mountains that thrust up out of the ground. Just don't stand on it. That's later on in the dungeon. For this part here, you're just going to keep cutting through. Just interrupt kicks as you can. It'll help alleviate some damage. Don't stand in those red pools that form on the ground. There's a little bit of AoE damage that comes out. Here our mage almost died. He got aggro from and the tank didn't pick it up quick enough. So here we are, we're just going to finish DPSing that down. Now we're good to go to proceed on. It's pretty quick to get to the first boss. Not too many trash pulls. In this room here, it's just gather everything up, and you're just going to AoE them down. The big guy there, he does kind of jump around a little bit, but it's not too bad, pretty straightforward. Just heal everybody up, and just pretty much it's a tank and spank here, nothing too much to worry about on this pull. There he is there, he's engorged, jumping around, and that's pretty much all he does there. There we go. That trash is taken care of. Now we just have a few more small pulls before we get to the boss. So we just gotta kill these spider looking things. There's a couple that are flying around. You just need a range. There on the left we can see one floating around. They just come in. Usually you get a ranged DPS to aggro it, to bring it into the pack, and then the tank can taunt it, or the tank can use his taunt just to bring it down. So we're just going to quickly blow through these, and then we got one more pack, which is much the same as this, with that big guy that kind of just jumps around. Nothing too much to worry about here. Just AoE them down. It's pretty simple and straightforward. You can pull those even though the boss was close there. He won't aggro with that pack, so you can just grab them. Like I said, it's pretty simple. Just DPS these down. Nothing too much to worry about here. So on this boss, he's got a couple different abilities. He has a vicious headbutt, which he inflicts some heavy damage to whoever has main aggro, so the tank. So the tank can mitigate that through using defensive CDs, or the healer can help out and throw up a couple defensive as well. On M0, it's not too bad to heal through. He's got another ability, which is he's doing right now, the Juggernaut Rush. So he's going to pick a target and charge at them. What you need to do on an M+ is you got to stack to absorb the damage that he does while he does that. On an M0 it's not too bad if you don't stack, but on higher level difficulties you'll need to stack in front of him, between him and his target, just to absorb the damage. Here he's doing Severing Smash, and what you need to do for that is spread out, because he generates orbs. We can see them real quick there, and as the orbs get gathered up by you, they deal AoE damage to the party. So there we had 3 people stacked and they almost went off instantly, which would have been a lot of damage on a higher level difficulty, and it might have been almost too much for the healer to sustain and get through. But there, because it's an M0, we're able to just absorb that and keep going. At this point the healer is pretty fairly geared, so it's not too bad. But on the M0, like I was saying, you'd want to spread out, and then you'd kind of take them at a staggered approach just to make the healing more manageable for the healer. And then those are the three different abilities that happen through the fight. So he's got the headbutt, which is the big damage on the tank. Then you have the Severing Smash, which generates the orbs, and then his Juggernaut Rush, where you got to stack up and absorb the blow between yourself and his chosen target. So here we're getting into the Gargoyle as well as some of the casters. So this is where things start to pick up and get a little bit more challenging. So we're going to group all these up. There's the what I call the mountains come up out of the ground. They will do a lot of damage if you get hit by it. As we saw there, the Rep Paladin took one there, and it took him, I would say, about 2/3 of his life. There they are again. And so you just don't stand in that, move out of the way. And then here, this one's the Dark Binding spell by the Grand Overseer. They put chains on everybody, and you got to run away to break the chains. The longer that you are chained, the more damage you take. It can actually be quite substantial. You might get trapped tunnel visioning there, and that is generally a bad thing. I know it's happened to me a couple times as I was learning the dungeon. You just got to be aware that they're going to cast it, and as soon as you see the chain link, you just got to run away to break it. The damage does tick pretty significantly, and the higher you get, here we go again, so you just got to run away to break it. I think there we just killed him instead, but that was just fortunate that he was already weak. But you just really need to break that because it is a lot of damage. I know I've died a couple times to it, just tunnel visioning, not really noticing that I got chained. This one is the same kind of group, so they also have the Dark Bindings as well. It's a little bit trickier to break the chains because you're on such a small area, so generally you would pull them into the corner, so then you can just run to the other side. See here, we're bound, and we're just absorbing it. I finally realized I bound, run away, because look at everybody's health in the party. A lot of people just stacked and absorbed that. It is pretty significant. Fortunate we didn't lose anybody there. But in this little spot here, you should drag them to the one side of the room, because then you can just run to the other side. Otherwise you have to run back across the bridge to break it. So it's just easier if you pull them into the corner there. And your healer will thank you if you break those chains, because as we could see, it was a fair bit of damage. I think I topped out closer to 3k during that one pull, which isn't a lot of healing as you would get higher up, but for an M0 that was fairly significant for the pull there. On this trash, you would like to just kick as many spells as you can, just to alleviate some damage. Don't stand in those swirly circles, it's unnecessary party damage, and otherwise it's just DPS down. So just kick and don't stand in stuff on this trash here coming up. Generally, most people would go left through that door. This was the first time that my party went to the right. Doesn't matter, it's a circle, it'll all lead you to the next boss, but it was just a little bit different heading to the right instead of the left. So here we are here again, it's the same group as before. We have one of those shadows in here. Just don't stand in the swirling circles on the ground. Also it drops, I'm going to get those bloods. Don't stand in it, it's a lot of damage. Here we have a couple people who are standing in, as well as there's a root that goes out, and so you got to be ready to cleanse that. There our mage was stuck and his blink was down, so I had to pop freedom to get him out of there. This is getting quite wide with the bloods there. We need to DPS that down a little bit quicker, and then just don't stand on, just keep kiting backwards and creating space for the group. So now we're just going to get everybody topped up because there was a fair bit of damage. Also there was another canister there that we were able to fill up, so we didn't have any vent here in the party, but otherwise if we did, they would have been able to use the canister and get a buff. So now we're going to kill this gargoyle again, the sentinel. So he's the one that creates what I call the mountains, so just when he spawns the mountains, don't stand on them. There we are there, just back away. Our Rep Paladin got hit by it again. He almost died. Now we're getting pretty close to the boss. The boss is just up and around the corner. So here, this is where we'll need to progress after the boss is dead. So we're just going to clear this little tunnel. Again, just don't stand on things and kick when you can, and that one's pretty straightforward. He's got a little couple ghoul adds as well, but they're just AoE'd them down. There's nothing special about them. Okay, now on to the second boss. So what he does here is he has two tornadoes, I guess, or blood cyclones that go out, whatever you want to call them. And one goes one direction, the other one goes the other direction. So what you want to do is you got to pick a side to stand on, because they will eventually cross paths where they come back towards you. So here it's on the left, so we go to the right, and as soon as it passes we go back to the left, because then the other one's going to come back on the right side. And he's going to continually drop those blood pools, so you just keep kiting him backwards away from them so people can DPS, and that's just the mechanic. The cyclones are going to come back and forth, so you want to go move left and right accordingly. Just make sure you don't get hit by it, and then we're just going to jump down the hole and we're on our way to the next boss. He does have another debuff which is called Castigate, the second boss there, and it's just a debuff that is put onto a player. It is a heavy damage that comes out, so the healer just needs to watch for it and top them up. And then so you gotta just watch for that, top it up, and then just move out of the blood pools on the ground, and then just dodge cyclones. It's pretty much straightforward. So this is a quick one to get to the third boss here, the Grand Proctor. So she's a little bit fun. The trash here is pretty straightforward. Just kick when you can, AoE them down. Nothing too tricky here. The third boss, sorry, is she's got a couple interesting mechanics. The main one being is we'll see here in her second phase, where she pulls in some power and generates these gold orbs that spawn on the ground. And you got to grab a couple of them. Try to get at least 3, because it will alleviate the damage when she does her AoE damage that comes out. So here she's doing her Right of Supremacy. Here are the gold orbs. You got to pick them up. Try to get 3. I'm only going to get 2 here. This is more important as you get higher up. As we can see, there's a little bit of damage that came out there. Took away probably a third of my health. I only got 2. And now she's going to do her Endless Torment. So you just got to run around. Don't stand in stuff like those pools. They hurt significantly. There's a couple spells that you got to debuff as a healer, but that's pretty much the mechanics of the fight. Just dodge those things during the run around phase, grab as many orbs as possible, otherwise she just stands in the middle and lets you DPS her. So here we go with another Right of Supremacy. Grab as many orbs. They just reduce the damage that you're going to take. So what I was trying to do is just save my AoE heal for when we come out of that, as well as on my also use Aura Mastery as well. So on that second one there I used Aura Mastery because I only got 2 shards again, and I could see that people were already a little bit weak, so I used Aura Mastery just to alleviate some party damage that was going to happen, and then just top everybody else up. So here we do need this shield. Generally the tank would pick it up, so the shield is useful is needed for the final boss here, and we'll cover that when we get to it. So this pack here is actually one of the more intensive damage packs for the group. Just with the casters and the melee there, it's one of the higher damage that comes out. Basically interrupt as much as possible and just AoE them down. There's nothing that you have to worry about standing in. It's just a lot of burst output that comes out, and so the healer just needs to be aware of it. Maybe save a CD for it, because it does get a little bit intense. This next pull you can actually do in 2 different pulls there. We grab them all at once, but you can actually just, and here's the gargoyle, so you got to dodge the mountains that come up as usual. So we can actually do this in 2 different pulls. I'm chained and I didn't realize that I'm going to die. Oh, I bubbled. I thought for sure I would die. So there's chains again, so you just got to run away. The group ate them. I think it was only the mage that broke the chain, otherwise everybody else kind of ate it. But sorry, as I was saying, on that pack, the gargoyle is on the right, and then you have the 2 humans on the left. You can actually just pull the humans. If you just attack one of them, they will come and the gargoyle will not engage. And that's more handy on the higher difficulties where you don't want to have them all at once because they're fairly intense damage wise. So then you can just pull the the humans, and then deal with the gargoyle afterwards. So this is actually the the fourth boss that we've engaged here, General Call. So it is a gauntlet. So as we move around here, we're going to encounter a couple bears that come running down. There they are there coming in, as well as some additional adds, and you just gotta endure the damage that's coming out and just AoE them down as best as possible. Here is the spell that I was talking about. You need the shield. She will start channeling, and you just basically need to throw the shield down to absorb that. So it's Gloom's Qual. She starts to cast that. You have the shield. You throw it down on the ground. It creates that pulsating gold area that you can stand in, and you got to get in it because you won't take any damage. And it's the mechanic to the fight, and when you get to the final phases of the fight, it's also important. So this is just a gauntlet. You're just chasing General Call down. She's summoning adds, and then doing the Gloom Squall. And so when that happens, like I was saying, you just gotta stack up. So there's a fair bit of damage that constantly that is coming out. So as a healer, just be ready for it. Use your cooldowns as you can. Have full mana before going into this. So here's the Gloom Squall again. We gotta get inside. We've got inside. It was a little bit late getting dropped there, but it was all good. We still were able to get inside. But as I was saying, yeah, as a healer, this gets pretty intense. Make sure you're at full mana. Use your cooldowns. You don't get to break combat. Just keep trucking along. If you do need to get caught up on some healing, just get your group to stop, because they don't have to engage the next pack of trash. The bears will continually funnel down towards you, but the additional humanoid trash you can wait to engage at your choosing. And mainly the damage is just coming because of all the casters, the dark bolts that are coming out. They do add up, and you can only kick so many. So we're getting near the end of the gauntlet here. This next pack with the gargoyle is actually the last trash pack before the boss fight, the rest of the boss fight. So there's another Gloom Squall. We drop our shield. We're well protected, and now we're good to go. So this is the last pack. So it's like everything else in the instance. The gargoyle is going to do the mountain thing. Just don't stand in that. Kick the spells as you can. The animated weapons so that the guy just summoned there despawn as soon as he dies, so you don't necessarily need to worry about them. There, a couple of us got caught by the mountain. I thought that I was actually out of it, but I ended up getting caught as well. So there we killed the last noble skirmisher, and now we can just go engage the boss for the final fight. So the General Call here is going to be, oh, I forgot about this little trash pack. So this is pretty straightforward. Just AoE these down. There are the bears and a couple humans. It's just nothing too bad here. As you can see, we just kind of blow through them quite easily. So General Call will be already damaged because we were fighting her while we were going through the gauntlet. So she's already partly damaged. We just got to get her down to 50%. So here she starts at 70%. So we just got to take 30% off her here. So she has the two main abilities. So she's got this here, her piercing blur. So she'll pick people to attack, and you need to go spread out because she does a cleave when she attacks. So if she has picked two people and then they stand beside each other, she basically cleaves them twice, and so then that's unnecessary damage. And she has that also ability where she summons the statues that we saw. I'll cover that next. So here again, she's doing the Gloom Skull. We got to throw down our barrier and stand inside it. If you don't stand inside it, then you get knocked off, which is what happened to our Red Paladin. So here she activates some clones of herself and does like a laser beam. Basically, it's similar to the cyclones that we saw earlier. One will go off, so you stand beside it, it will go off, and then you just step into where it was, and then the other one will go off, and then you're free to move again. So here she's going to do her blur again and attack everybody that was selected, and then there goes the lasers, or whatever you want to call it, and then so you just kind of sidestep it. So here we go, she's doing Gloom Squall again. And so when she does do the blur attack, it does put a bleed on you. So use a defensive as you can. I was actually contemplating to see if I could Stoneform it off here, but I didn't get the buff there. And so here we go. So you just got to get to 50%, like I said. So there we've dropped her to 50%. She's going to grab you as a mechanic, and then General Draven shows up and ends the encounter. So that's the mechanics of that fight. So like I said, if you get picked by Piercing Blur, just spread out so you don't all get cleaved by when you get attacked by it. When she's casting Gloom Squall, stack up, drop the shield, stand inside it, and then when the blood lasers are up, stand beside one that's going to go off. As soon as it goes off, step into the one into where it was, because there will be one on both sides of you, and then the other one will go off, and you'll just alleviate some damage. If you do not get into the golden circle during Gloom Squall, you will get knocked off and die. So this is Sanguine Depths. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or comments, please let me know below.